Welcome to a Skyrim Addict podcast where I will discuss my adventures and misadventures through Skyrim. Join me. Add your stories, add your tales. Let's get into this thing. Hey, what's up, everyone? So, this episode's going to be a little different. I will have an episode of Mod Talk with Victor coming up in a moment. You can check that out if you search ASA space Mod Talk, all one word, on iTunes. I'll also be putting the link in the show notes for that. And then we'll have some game talk with Jeremy, a little bit of Zelda, and then probably some of the Horizon Zero Dawn one. So you can check out some of the other shows we got going on. But we should be back next week with some regular Skyrim content. The Mod Talk actually does have a bunch of, I believe, about Skyrim, and then there's one about Fallout. So make sure you subscribe to both of those. All the links will be in the show notes, or you can head over to asapodcasting.com, and the links are all up there. So happy gaming, everyone, and enjoy the shows.
Welcome to Mod Talk!
Ah, yes, just what I was hoping for.
But really, a horker, some twine, 3 wood elves, and a hatchet? Points for creativity, if nothing else.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Mod Talk. Kyle and I tried to get together, but life has intervened several times with both of us, and we kind of agreed that I would go solo this time. So here I am, and we're going to be talking about a little, about basic modding practice, and that will be this episode. We're going to talk a little bit about load order. And then we're going to have a little more fun because we're going to talk about armor and clothing mods in both Skyrim and Fallout. And then we'll do a little bit of a community spotlight. We're going to talk about a modder that everybody is familiar with, I think, who's modded any games now on the Xbox or PC, particularly if you've listened to any of our roundtable recordings or other things. We've mentioned this particular modder several times. And then we'll go back over the contract from last time and sort of put out there for a new one. So without further ado, let's get into the first section of the show.
I wonder what the talk around the water cooler was on the day before the bombs dropped.
Probably an excessive amount of mod talk.
So, today we're going to talk about some cool stuff and some stuff that'll probably seem a little boring. Unfortunately, the boring stuff is important, but we'll get to it first, so maybe I'll stick around for some of the goodies later. I like to think of modding practice using the old three-legged stool metaphor, and in modding that means load order, leveled list patches, which would be like Rybash, bashed patches, and merged patches, which are generated in Skyrim anyway, with TES5 edit and with the X-edit programs in other games. It's not a perfect metaphor because the stool will stay upright with just one leg, that being load order in particular, but the other 2 legs are pretty important. And we'll talk a little bit about why later. What I'm going to talk about will only be fully visible really on a PC, but the mechanics also apply to consoles. When I say PC, I have to mention something else that I'm fairly adamant about. I do not advocate Steam as a venue for mods. I know that some people find that a little bit, I don't know, elitist isn't really the right word, but I have good reasons. If you're gaming on a PC and you're modding your game, you owe it to yourself to use the Nexus and the Nexus Mod Manager, or later on, if for more complex things, I would still advocate Mod Organizer. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. Today, we're only going to talk about the load order leg of the stool. But let me preface this also by giving a little fatherly advice. Don't fall into the kid in the candy store trap. It's very easy to look at all the mods out there and go crazy, find all kinds of crazy cool looking mods and that are pretty sketchy. Remember that adding and subtracting mods during a playthrough is dangerous. If you're on a PC, use a mod manager and test your load order, your mod list, on a testing profile. Don't commit to a serious game until you're sure you have a stable list. Lastly, when we're talking about loot only without patches or mods on console, we're talking about simple groups of mods, somewhere between 20 and 40 carefully selected mods. When you get up into the range of 50 to 200 or more mods, you're going to need patches and a lot more care and curation. So keep it simple and you'll be safe. All right, enough of that pedantry. Bethesda games load their data files in order, from a figurative top to bottom. There are two kinds of these files. There's masters, and there's, I guess you could call them plugins. Skyrim uses the .esm extension for most masters and .esp for plugins. Fallout 4 files are designated with the BA2. Those are the game files that come from Bethesda. Most mods, though, will have the .esp extension with loose files and textures and other things that go in your data folder, or if you're using Mod Organizer, in its own virtual folders. Sometimes these assets are packaged in .bsas, which is a compressed Bethesda archive. That's something that modders can use to package their files. It's something you shouldn't mess with. All games load their master files first. In Skyrim, for instance, that's Skyrim.esm if you're looking on your PC and you look at inside your data folder. Then the update ESM, then Dawnguard, then Dragonborn, and same thing with Fallout and Fallout 4. It loads the base game files first, and then any DLCs come later. After that, any mods that are designated as masters, which some modders do for good reason, though not all masters, mod masters have the .esm extension, but they are internally designated as masters, and the game will recognize them as such. After that, all the rest of the mods in the order they appear in the directory, and that is crucial. In the order they appear in the directory, the game loads them from top to bottom. That means each subsequent file supersedes the last if there is a conflict. This is why load order is crucial. It is also crucial because many mods rely on master files that must be loaded first. If there is a missing master file, the game will simply crash to desktop without warning. Without warning, you'll just simply find yourself back at the desktop. The console is a little different, but similar things happen. So what can a mod user do to curate his or her load order? Well, we talked about loot briefly in the last episode. It is the tool on PC to make your load order right and stable. The best tool on console is your head with its eyes and brain. Read all the mod authors' descriptions and follow their advice. We'll talk a little more about that later too. So what does loot do? It parses a master list that is curated by very committed people in the modding community and applies the rules in that list to your load order. It then offers you an option to fine-tune the load order and then apply it to your game. It is an application that can be run from within your mod manager, and you should do so that it will apply to the specific game and game profile you're working with. And it is compatible with numerous Bethesda games. So why should you use loot? Well, that's pretty simple. It's because it's there. It's easy to use, and it will make your game more stable. It is not infallible, but I think it's safe to say that 95% of the time the order it creates for your mods will be correct. It is still important to pay attention to what mod authors say in their descriptions. However, you will probably find that several mods in your list are recommended to be last, and clearly only one mod can be last, so here's where loot is even more your friend. The people who curate the master list know what they're doing. There are a few mods that you can be certain need to be last, or odd things will happen. One of those in particular is Alternate Start Live Another Life in Skyrim. And loot will always place it last, almost always place it last. If it places something after it, then it needs to be there. For instance, if you are using bashed patches, the bashed patch must be last, with certain exceptions. But hey, this is modding. There's always an exception. Anyway, if you're on PC, please learn how to use loot and use it from inside your mod manager. You are using a mod manager, right? I mean, you really should. We won't talk about Steam. This is we're talking about the Nexus here. If you're on a console, your only option is to follow the advice of the authors. However, I will guess that almost everyone listening to this has access to a PC, even if they don't use it for games. So, since Bethesda has not really given modders a lot of space to describe their mods and explain any issues, go to your PC, look up the mod on the Nexus, and then read the description there. It will apply, in many cases, to what you should do with it on your console. So, and you might learn a few things about the mod that you didn't know. So that's about it for this talk. I don't want to go, on and on and on about it. I hope you're getting the idea that I'm a big advocate for educating yourself, and I will flog that horse mercilessly. Modding games is not simply a matter of grabbing any mod you want and throwing it at your poor game save. You need to be smart and cautious and educated. So go forth, mod your games, and have fun, okay? I'll have a good list of videos on this subject in the show notes on the website.
Hey, buddy. Still looking to get that
mod fix?
Now, let me ride the high to where the site wants to take me.
Okie doke. One of the most enjoyable parts of modding is changing the look of the game. Whether it's a new rug texture, a bigger tree, or a pretty dress, if you've played the game for a while, the change is like a breath of fresh air. This time on Mod Talk, I want to highlight armor and clothing. Since Skyrim is one of the top 3 most modded games of all time, as well as being the primary focus of this show and my own modding, it was a new mod available for Legacy Skyrim that caught my eye a while back and became the inspiration for this episode. That mod is Divine Elegance by Apache. First, let's talk really quickly and simply about how armor and clothing work in games like Skyrim. Every body model, or armature as the modelers like to call them, is composed of locations that are called slots. There are quite a number of them, some free and some reserved. Any piece of armor or new weapon must be able to occupy one of these slots without conflicting with another piece. Every armature also has a skeleton and a body type that can be modded. The skeleton is what animations are applied to, and the body type affects how clothing looks on the model, and of course whether or not you have a naked model of man or woman. So you can see why it can be confusing for the mod user and difficult for the mod maker to make sure that a mod is compatible with as many combinations as possible. When you're shopping for clothing and armor mods, and you see things like CBBE and UNP, these are body types specifically for women in those 2 cases. There are several available, but these are the most common and refer, like I said, only to the female form. CBBE is a little more voluptuous, I guess you could say, and UNP is a bit more slender. There are a couple of mods for the male body as well, including one that just came out recently, for Skyrim anyway. Some armor and clothing mods are designed specifically for a body type, but most of them have versions that are compatible with at least the 2 female ones I mentioned, as well as the vanilla body. For men, there is also a very famous mod that is available on the site that most of us prefer not to mention because aside from being really honestly an excellent resource for modding information, it's also a pretty hardcore porn site. So if you're uncomfortable with that, well then don't go there. But the mod I'm referring to for men is called Schlongs of Skyrim, believe it or not, and it's at a place called Lover's Lab. So if you are not faint of heart, then by all means go there. I'll include a link to that in the show notes. And believe it or not, Schlongs of Skyrim is actually a pretty good mod if you don't mind a lot of penis. Okay, so if a mod maker mentions a body slot specifically, it's because the mod may occupy a spot used by the vanilla game or commonly used by other modders. You simply need to pay attention and keep these warnings in mind while you're playing the game. Occasionally, slot conflicts might cause a crash, but more commonly they'll just cause odd clipping and look kind of funny. In my games, I have tried all the different body types, but after several years of playing around and trying to keep track of which one I'm using and which profile and all the patches, I've just said to heck with it and gone to the KISS route, the keep it simple, stupid, and use only the vanilla body for both men and women. It's just so much easier and less hassle. I'm not a huge fan of the skimpy female armor that comes that often comes with or goes for the CBBE. I mean, they look like bikinis. It's ridiculous, and I like my male and female characters and NPCs to look normal. I don't want a bunch of models from the pages of GQ and Cosmopolitan. That goes for hair, too, but that's a different show. So, that's the technical stuff in very simple terms. Let's get to the good stuff. A small disclaimer, though. I am unabashedly a PC mod user. I have an Xbox, and I enjoy using it. I'll try to include mods from consoles whenever I can, but I'm sure I'll miss plenty. Please send any suggestions to asamodtalk@gmail.com. Thank you. So I'll start with Divine Elegance because it was the inspiration for this show, or this part of this show. It's a huge mod coming in at 1.2 gig, available only on the Nexus, and at present only for Legacy Skyrim that I know of. So not for Skyrim SE. The author, Apache, is well known for her extensive hair mods, harking back to that Cosmopolitan and GQ. But again, that's a different show. What makes Divine Elegance stand out is the amazing array of excellent and tasteful clothing and armor that it includes for both men and women. Anyone who has modded Skyrim for any length of time has seen the ridiculous bikini armor I referred to before and the Conan-style armor for men. There is very little of that here. Apache isn't making a bunch of demure outfits, though. There are sexy things and sexy dresses and everything in between. The main point is that it's all great looking. This mod adds a ton of new outfits, weapons, and accessories to the game, all in one place. And that place is a store called Divine Elegance, which you'll find on the road between Markarth and Whiterun, basically, sort of under the mountain where Fort Sunguard is. When it was first released, I felt the armor was kind of overpowered and way too easy to find and make at the Forge. But since then, the mod's been updated. It's now in version 1.3, I think, possibly even 1.4. I don't remember. I haven't checked today, so you never know. It is possible to buy OP armor at that Divine Elegance store, but you'll still be required to have a certain item in your inventory in order to craft any of it. It's the responsibility of the player to fit this into the game and use the items at an appropriate time. This offers a player who really enjoys role-playing the opportunity to have a lot of fun with dress-up. I've taken my game spouse, whether it's male or female, out on the town in solitude and dressed in these beautiful flowing evening gowns and finery and wonderful fine clothing for men that would really rival any medieval gentleman or lady. So I really highly recommend Divine Elegance. It's a lot of fun. Some of the armor is great looking and some of it is kind of ridiculous, but that's what it's all about. It just gives the player superb options for fighting in style. So use it for fun and profit. So a couple of days after I recorded that segment on Divine Elegance, a couple of things changed. I guess I should have expected that. First of all, version 1.4 is out, and second of all, it is now available for Skyrim SE, so that's pretty awesome. So everybody who's playing SE should go out and try it out. On to the next. I mentioned immersive armors by Hoth Trooper 44 on the last show, but no talk about armor and clothing mods would be complete without it. Like Divine Elegance, it's quite large. It's not quite a gig, but just under. But it really should be an essential part of any load order. It is a compilation of many existing mods that were existing when Hoth Trooper set out to do this by numerous people, including Hoth Trooper 44 himself. There are nicer versions of vanilla armor. There's wonderful suits of full plate, like the Vanguard set. Excellent light armor sets like the Crimson Archer set, which is one of my favorites. And a few really nifty sets like the Einherjar armor, which come in both light and heavy. All in all, it's the best pure armor collection out there, really. And it's available on all platforms, except the PS4. Another essential armor mod compilation is the set of textures by Cabal, called A Midian-Born Book of Silence. These are principally new textures for existing vanilla armor, but don't let that stop you. They're excellent. They're beautiful. Really, up to now, they're only available for Legacy Skyrim and only on the Nexus. Now, as far as I know, some of these texture-only mods can be ported over to SE. You can try to port them over direct without running them through NifScope or anything else, but to be honest, I've never tried it, and I've heard a lot of things about people saying that eventually it may work fine initially, but eventually it'll cause issues with your save game. So there are some videos out there. I'll try to find some links for you if you can run them through NifScope and I think one other program to recompile the mod in a form that SE can use. So if you don't mind learning how to do stuff like that, then by all means give it a shot. The last Skyrim armor mod I'll mention is the Colovian compilation. These are clothing and armor sets that have been ported over from the Beyond Skyrim project. They're imaginative, they're stylish. One of them includes a fur helmet, which is really kind of as silly as the vanilla fur helmet. But other than that, that's the only piece I really dislike. The dress clothing set is excellent, and it's really an excellent addition to any wardrobe. Trying not to sound like a game show host here. All right, so on the Fallout side of things, I have a few thoughts and ideas for mods. First of all, there are several essential framework mods that should be considered first, since Bethesda handles clothing and armor in Fallout very differently than it does in Skyrim. That may be a little too bold a statement, but anyway. So the first of these is Armor and Weapons Keywords Community Resource, AWKCR, basically. This is available on PC, and I think it's also available on Xbox. It should be used by everyone. It's simple. It doesn't really have any weight on the game. Weight, WEIGHT. I don't think there are any issues with this that outweigh its usefulness. So AWKCR is a standardized framework for armor and cosmetics for modders, to prevent slot and other types of conflicts, and that's really important. It also provides an optional standardized armor and weapon workbench if you want to use it for modded pieces. It's by Valdecil, who's pretty well known, so it's good and stable. After that, there are two somewhat competing mods, I guess. Maybe that's not really the right way of saying it. They don't really compete, that benefit Fallout players using modded armor. I say somewhat because, in fact, they can be used together. So whichever is lower in the load order will prevail on non-cosmetic items. So these two mods are UCO and Armorsmith Extended. They're both good. Armorsmith is a bit more complex, and I think UCO, you might say, is a little bit more stable, perhaps because it's a little more simple. They both, in simplest terms, allow the modder to go beyond Bethesda's limitations on armor, over armor and clothing. More than that is really beyond the scope of this podcast, but I would just encourage you to go and read up on them. For Xbox users, I think UCO is currently the only option. So that may change, but right now that's it. So my picks for Fallout 4 armor are pretty simple. There's tons of great ones out there, and again, I welcome any suggestions. I can add to the show notes. And so the first is Ellie's armor compilation. I think most people who've modded for a little while have heard of Eleonora. She is quirky and irascible, but incredibly talented. Her player home mods for Skyrim are really pretty essential, and we'll cover some of those in another episode. But her armor compilation for Fallout 4 is easily as good as Apache's Divine Elegance. It's not as extensive, but the quality of the models is on a par. It's just awesome. The next is the NCR Veteran Ranger armor. I like that because it sort of harks back to the older Fallout games, and of course, it's nostalgic. It's a good set with nice textures. It has a no BS look about it that I like. After that is concealed armor. This one's pretty cool. Circling back to the beginning of the discussion in my comments about slots, this mod helps hide aesthetically unpleasant clipping by making armor pieces simply invisible. They're still there. They still have all their stats. You just can't see them. I love this idea. It's awesome. And it's really not cheating in any way. You have the armor's there. It's just aesthetic. It is designed to work with ArmorSmith Extended, so you'll have to be aware of that. My last pick is a sentimental one, and it is the TES-51 Power Armor. Experienced Fallout 4 players will probably know of this one, maybe, and the first three letters should give it away. It is a Skyrim-inspired set of power armor, and it is, in a word, awesome. I shall say no more. So that's it for this section of the show. I hope I've given you some good suggestions, and please, as I've said, if you have more, do let me know. Write in and let me know about them.
Community Spotlight!
All right. Good work, people. You really are one of the good guys.
This episode's Community Spotlight goes to Enai Saeon. If you don't recognize the name, you will almost certainly recognize his mods from our playthroughs and podcasts. He is the author of Ordinator, Apocalypse, Thunderchild, Winter Mist, Summer Mist, Wildcat, Smilodon, Dwemertech, Imperius, Aurora, Sacrosanct, Edda, Spectreverse, and Modern Brawl Bug Fix. The reason I chose him as our first individual for Community Spotlight is that every single one of those mods I just listed is a well-made and elegant piece of programming. Without sounding too much like a sycophant, and at the risk of offending all the haters out there, I'd have to say these mods are the Apple of Skyrim modding. They just work. Well, that's Apple's slogan anyway. It's a good one. It just works. Furthermore, the author is active and engaged. He posts consistent updates that improve and stabilize his mods. He posts patches in the rare circumstances that they are needed, and seems to work well with other modders to make his mods compatible. So let's look at some of those mods. Ordinator might be the definitive perk overhaul for Skyrim. There are others, indeed, but I don't think there are any better ones. More importantly, no other perk overhaul works so well without any major patching. I have respect for Skyrim and its successor, Percus Maximus. However, they both require a lot of engagement from the mod user. I realize that I often encourage exactly that from you listeners, but when a mod makes engagement and curation less necessary, it's a good mod. Ordinator can even be added to an existing save, but I think it should be reserved for new games. Apocalypse might also be the definitive spell mod. It coexists with vanilla spells and adds a mountain of new and interesting ones. In particular, it adds some really imaginative and powerful master level spells for those with the patience to get and attain those heights. I certainly am not one of those, I'm afraid. This mod, Apocalypse, can be added to any game, but pay attention to the author's notes on compatibility and patches. There are a few of those, and he's also included a patch particularly for between Apocalypse and Ordinator. I think I might classify Imperius as an enhancement rather than an overhaul. If you have played Skyrim for a while and you want to add some spice to your character's racial profile, then give Imperius a try. It's great. Lots of really, really interesting and cool racial abilities and things. Like all these mods, it's easy on the system. Won't need a lot of patching, but it does really need a new game. Thunderchild is indeed an overhaul, and a good one. If you're going to play a Dragonborn character, you owe it to yourself to give this mod a run-through. It builds on the vanilla shouts in new and imaginative ways, taking all the existing words and creating new shouts. You'll need to find the library edition that the author has added to High Hrothgar and become familiar with the Nordic god Kine. You can add this mod to the game at any time, but again, it seems to me you'll have more fun if you use it on a new character. So that's just 4 of Inai Saeon's amazing mods. I encourage everyone to go to the Nexus and read about all of them. Many are available for Xbox as well. And Smilodon in particular, I think, was designed for use with PS4. So you can use Smilodon, which is a combat mod, on the PS4. So just let's take a moment to appreciate the fact that someone is willing to put this kind of time into making content for all of us to enjoy. They are super great mods, and like I said, the modder is engaged and deserves this community spotlight. And that, in fact, is what Community Spotlight is all about. So, kudos to you, Inai Saeon. Thank you for all your mods.
Occasionally, I'll give you a contract with certain parameters. Stay within them, and you'll earn yourself a bonus.
Welcome to Contracts. First off, let's revisit last episode's 2 contracts. The first was Immersive Wenches. Despite its somewhat sexist-sounding title, the mod is really good. Tavern Wenches are already all over Skyrim, so it doesn't add anything that isn't there already, really. It just adds a bunch of new ones. All of the NPCs have good attributes and make really decent followers, especially once they're equipped with good armor. So give it a try and send in your experiences just like Mike B did. So we did have an email, which is pretty awesome, from Mike B. He says, "Greetings, ASA crew. Name's Mike B, and I just stumbled upon your podcast. I always enjoy a good gameplay challenge, so when I heard yours regarding Immersive Wenches, I thought I'd email you my own experience. I've been playing Skyrim on PS3, all the while bitterly envying the PC modders for their bounties. I picked up a used Xbox just to finally have full mod access. Now my all-time favorite game is full of new life and better than ever. Truth be told, I've been running Immersive Wenches for several weeks, along with many mods that add new spawns into the world. Populated roads, populated dungeons, populated forts and camps. I think these are my favorite kind of mods. Immersive Wenches makes taverns so much more taverny, but I hadn't really tried getting one as a follower before. So, easier said than done, he says. Other than spawning some painfully cheesy commands, other than spewing some painfully cheesy commands, I couldn't get the time of day from a single one. I soon came to realize that none of my characters could recruit new followers of any type. For my years of mod starvation, I do tend to run buttloads of mods. I knew there had to be some kind of follower script that had changed, and the only thing I could possibly be was Sophia. Sophia, one of the most popular follower mods, who had been recently married by one of my characters, which apparently caused all of my characters to be unable to interact with anyone but her. Talk about the jealous type. Well, one evening, old Sophia didn't come home from the pub. It's a 50-50 shot as to whether she ran off with some Nord or was brutally slaughtered by one of the many new mob spawns I have in the world. So now, with Sophia out of the picture, all of my characters are free to mingle again. With the help of the follower overhaul mod, I was able to recruit a whole new troop of wenches. I have them all geared up as a bunch of holy paladins, backed up by my resto priest, taking on the vampires of Skyrim. But seriously, if you're going to download Immersive Wenches, why not add Deadly Wenches along with it? And while you're at it, you should just load the other deadly mods as well. Deadly Bandits, Deadly Draugr, and Deadly Civil War. Also, Skyrim Mercenaries, Immersive Patrols, and the aforementioned populated series. I have all of these running, and Tamriel has never felt more alive and deadly. Take care, and thanks for the great podcast. May your roads lead you to warm pudding. That's a great email. Thank you, Mike. I'm not sure I'd run all those spawning mods at once for fear of some kind of horrible train wreck happening, but more power to you if you can run stably and profitably that. And he just sent a little added email, and he says, I forgot to mention in my previous post, please do septums to be donated to the Riften orphanage in order to vet and hire a proper new headmistress. I wonder what happened to the headmistress. Eventually we'll find out. So that's a great email. Thank you, Mike. I hope other listeners will write in with similar emails because this is a lot of fun. And don't forget about Canine Harness. That's the Fallout contract. I'm going to be trying that myself during my Fallout Feed Roundtable play-along, so stay tuned to that. Now, this episode's contract is a simple one. Just send in your best screenshot of a character in one of the pieces of armor or clothing mentioned in the episode. But let's add a little twist. So just to make it a bit more interesting, your character needs to be standing next to a defeated dragon, or in Fallout, that would be a Deathclaw, of course. Feel free to add any level of detail or difficulty you like. Entries will be judged on photographic merit, composition, exposure, and oh wait, never mind. That was a flashback to art school, and I didn't even go to art school. Anyway, entries will be judged on style and difficulty, and anything else I judge to be judged by. So be sure to include a little blurb. And that's it for contracts.
May your road lead you to warm sands.
We're not leaving you. We're just going elsewhere.
Well, I think that's about it for this episode. Thank you all for listening. I really want to thank, in particular, Kyle for all of his great work, especially on the bumpers and concept for the outline of the show and the contracts and all the other stuff. I couldn't have done it without all of that help. So, and I'm hoping that we can get back together soon and continue on doing the show together. Also, thank you to Andrew and Red Queen Hypothesis for the closing theme. And thank you to Michael from A Skyrim Addict for creating the whole thing and making it all possible for us to get together and do this and have this wonderful community. So please go to asapodcasting.com and visit the webpage there. It has links to all of the ASA network shows like the Skyrim Roundtable and the Fallout Feed and My Life with Cystic Fibrosis and all of the other great shows. Also, check out our Facebook group. It's just A Skyrim Addict, I believe. I guess that's about it. Thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed some of my advice or got something out of it and enjoyed some of my selections for mods and things like that. But as we all know, modding is a very dynamic thing, and there's constantly new mods coming out. And I realize that some of the mods that I mentioned are kind of old, and a lot of people who are experienced or who have been around the modding community a little bit know most of them or all of them already. So I want to try to start doing this a little more frequently if I can, and in a somewhat more compact version. So I'm going to try to bring out quick little mod updates as often as possible, and I do want to start talking about other games like Factorio and City Skylines, and I'm really very, very much not into Minecraft, although I've messed with it a little bit. So I'd like to find somebody who is and who has experienced a lot of the mods that are available for Minecraft. So with that in mind, I will hopefully be bringing you more short episodes in future. And until next time, keep modding, but do it safely, folks. See ya. a production of the Open World, Reality and Fantasy.
If you want to play PlayStation, you fucking play PlayStation.
Hey nerds! Can't get enough of Fallout at home? Check out the Fallout feed. Let's Play series for something exciting. Extra Fallout action only at asapodcasting.com.
What's going on, gamers? Welcome to episode 45 of ASA Game Talk. We are asapodcasting.com's general gaming podcast where we talk about games besides Skyrim and Fallout. Usually. I am Jeremy, and I am joined today by Sherry.
Hello. Nicely done, Jeremy.
Thank you. How are you doing today, Sherry?
I'm good. It's Sunday here in on the Central Coast, not far from Sydney, Australia. It's actually a nice day outside, but I'm an indoors person, so what the hell? So,
well,
no, I'm good.
I appreciate you joining us. This is for us here in the States, this is a Saturday night. And for me, this is past my bedtime, so... We wanted to do this Horizon episode and get Sherry on, so we're doing a late night recording. Victor will be joining us here shortly. He is just getting done doing some Skyrim roundtable, so he may pop in. So, Sherry, in the grand tradition of ASA Game Talk, tell us your gaming history.
Okay, my gaming history is actually officially started in late 2010 or early 2011 when I was bored with some I was bored and I was just looking for something interesting to do, and you know how World of Warcraft had those 15 days free trials and stuff like that.
Oh yes.
Yes, so I decided, yeah, let's just try this 15-day trial on World of Warcraft. I had nothing else better to do. I might have been unemployed at the time. So I hooked that up, and I had so much fun. I really enjoyed it. And I was employed at the time. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to afford to buy, to go through a few days later to go and actually buy the World of Warcraft game. Yeah, so I bought it and I enjoyed it for a little while. Had a funny moment where I was in the game and I like to explore places.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I really love doing. I just love exploring. So of course I'm like this little low character going and exploring to areas where I really should not go.
I would just take off running and looking for all the Griffin Masters. Going same thing.
I just went anywhere, and there was the characters when they're way above their level, their level number shows as a skull.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was skulls everywhere, and I somehow made it to a graveyard, and I ended up getting stuck in a death loop.
Oh,
because what happens is that I'll be killed in that spot, but then I'd go back to where I had to be revived, but it was right near where I was killed again. So I'd walk a little far, get killed, revive, walk a little far, get killed. I couldn't move on. I eventually worked it out what to do, but it was a bit weird. And then there was also the time I decided to go to somewhere else, to go on a ship to go somewhere, and I kept on getting booted off the ship, and some other person in the game sent me a message going, haha, you need the expansion for that.
Oh.
So the reason I was getting booted off because I lacked an expansion, which I went and bought later. So that was a lot of fun, and I actually did not last long in World of Warcraft, because around about that time, a new game I saw, in the game store with big banner and stuff called Rift. And I thought, it'd be nice to start a game. It wasn't out yet. It was like pretty pre-order stage. So I pre-ordered it, and then I got it, and you got this like pre-order, got to start the game like a week before
and this was
it
all
actually
PC?
Officially launched. This was the MMO called Rift.
It was
Have you heard of that one?
On PC or on
Yes.
console? Okay.
On PC. Yeah. So, I just got so much into Rift. I loved it. I spent ages on Rift, and that was it. I loved video games, and I've discovered Oblivion, and I was excited about Skyrim. But I had Oblivion, but didn't have Skyrim when Skyrim came out. So I was a little late to Skyrim, even though I wanted it. But that was the time I was unemployed. That's why I couldn't get it at launch. And that was it. I did have some gaming stuff that happened before that time, like SimCity and The Sims. And I used to play a little bit. I used to play Tomb Raider on a PS1 a long time ago.
All right.
Yeah. Of memorable nights of trying to get past a T-Rex while we're eating pizza. It was quite a lot of fun. Yeah.
So what do you have now as far as consoles?
Oh, I have a PS4. And I have a 360 that is an Xbox 360, which I think I'm getting rid of. And let's see, I play games on PC as well. So, and I have a 3DS, and I also have a PS Vita.
Nice.
That would be my consoles.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Victor.
Hey. So
How you doing?
I was listening to most of that, so I was just getting ready. It's like a nice gaming history there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm finally at that stage where I feel like I'm more an experienced gamer. I don't feel like a newbie anymore.
Good.
Yeah. Took me a while to get to that point. So, yeah.
So, besides Horizon, and this question goes to both you and Victor, what have you been playing lately?
Besides Horizon, I have started to play on my 3DS Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Nice.
And I had a bit of difficulty starting it. I found its tutorial features really hard to deal with. So this is actually my second attempt to start it, and I think I've finally got past the point where I can continue on. There's the point. There's a line between this is too hard and I think I've got it. There's a line between those. I think I've finally passed that line. I hadn't before when I first got the game a year ago or so. So, yeah, I had some people mocking me because of my complaints about how hard the tutorial is. It's like, it's like people going, yeah, that's how games were back in our day. God.
What about you, Victor? What have you been playing lately besides Horizon?
Well, not much actually. I've been playing, a fair amount of Skyrim because of the Roundtable, and finishing that up, and a little bit of Sniper Elite. But I kind of gave that up when Horizon came out. I'm going to go back to it as soon as I'm done playing Horizon. But that's about it, really. I mean, it's been I've been totally immersed in Horizon. So.
And you did beat the game, correct?
No, I have not. In fact, I mentioned that I might by the time we had this podcast, but then I thought, nah, I'm not going to do that, and I deliberately stopped doing the main quest and just went off and did some other things.
But you're pretty deep into it, correct?
Yeah, she's level 34
further along
or
than
5.
us.
Yes.
Yeah, and they don't number the stages of the quest, so the main quest. So, but I'm well along down the path.
Okay.
So I've uncovered almost the entire map now.
Oh.
So.
Gotcha.
I'm actually just trying to uncover my notes I made for this, but something on a non-gaming note. OneNote sucks. God, it's a pain in the butt. Any other you guys used OneNote at all? It's just.
I was like, I thought you said you had OneNote, and the note was just sucks, and you didn't know what that was related to.
Oh no! It's a program. It's just
yeah. Now
impossible
I know now.
Yeah, it's just impossible to get it to sync reliably, and so I was trying to get my notes to sync over to my iPad, but now I'm back over at my PC. So anyway, sorry.
Oh, that's.
So I'm holding my iPad, and if you hear lots of rustling in the background, because I'm trying to crane my neck around to look at the TV with Horizon on it, while I'm sitting here looking at my notes on my PC. So
I wrote very few notes, and I went old style. If you can hear the paper.
I wish I had now instead of this stupid high tech crap.
I always just use the Notes app.
Yeah, it's nice, but I use OneNote at work a little bit. But of course, where I work, that's a walled garden, so everything's inside the Department of Defense there, and so this is an outside version of OneNote. It's just not working so well. So,
well, before we get into Horizon, I started. I bounced into Mass Effect a little bit, which I don't want to get too much into because we're going to do a more Mass Effect heavy show.
Are you enjoying it, at least?
I've never played Mass Effect before, so I didn't know what to expect. And yeah, I am enjoying it. It's
good.
I still feel that I'm in the tutorial type stage, even though I think I'm just about out of it, which I don't mind because it's not overly, press X to jump tutorial type stuff, but it's, it's definitely a very linear, this is what you're going to do right now. And it's working, and I'm okay with that, and I'm enjoying, it's got a good story.
I'm also never played Mass Effect either.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in people's opinions.
I enjoy, they're kind of just laying the framework of the story right now, and I do enjoy that. And I've had a couple of battles, and those have been fun. Haven't done anything in the Nomad or anything yet. I haven't gotten that far. And the little bit I've played, I've enjoyed. So looking forward to talking more about it in later episodes and with people that are a little more versed in Mass Effect and how it stacks up. But I'm enjoying it so far. Very early in the game, I think I'm level 2 or 3. So, it could go off the rails here anytime.
Kate said she I mean, I haven't talked to her today at all, but she said she and Luangie had enjoyed going through the prologue. But they were a little iffy about the character creation. Of course, they're both like huge BioWare fans. They've played both the Dragon Age and Mass Effect cycles multiple times, and so they're going to be a little more demanding about stuff like that, perhaps. But they're they're having a good time so far.
That's good. Can you guys hear me okay? Because I seem to be having cut-off issues.
Oh, no. We can hear you just fine, Sherry.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Could be just long-distance internet.
Yes, probably that.
I was just going to respond to your message, but yep, we hear you loud and clear.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, good.
Besides that, I haven't played too much more of. I almost said Breath of the Wild, Wildlands.
Yeah, that's. I listened to your commentary on it. Any more thoughts?
No, because after this week I said no. I've got to play a bunch of Horizon because I want to get at least to where most of us are. So we don't just talk about the first 4 missions and that's it, or quests, because I'm not any farther in the game. So I did that, but then I was sick on Sunday and Monday and spent most of the week recovering. And I had a bunch of work I had to get done this week because it was spring break at the college. So I had to do a bunch of running around at the college this week. So I did not play as much as I wanted to. I crammed a lot last night and this morning. So, but I did get to at least where I wanted to get to. So
that's good.
Yeah. So why don't we get into it then? I made it into Meridian.
Nice.
And just a little bit past, and Sherry said she is in Meridian, and it's about.
Yes, I too have made it to Meridian and have done one quest that came out of Meridian so far. My Aloy is not in Meridian right now, but I have reached that part of the main quest. I can say the title. I think we can keep this episode pretty spoiler light.
Yeah,
pretty much from all our information. So I think you could say the titles of quests without spoiling anyone. And so the last main quest I've done is Field of the Fallen, which is Erin's quest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so it's the beginning of Erin's quest. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's where, and I'm up to level 20. What level?
Nice.
Your Victor's up to level 30. What level are you up to, Jeremy?
I am at 19, and I think I'm one quest. Any one quest I think should get me up in the 20. I'm like 19.
It's pretty much the same level I am. Must be an average to get up to Meridian around about level 20, 19.
Well, let's talk about what is it? What's the city before Meridian? Is it
city?
The city?
No,
the watchtower.
Village?
The gate, yeah.
Oh,
it's like Watchtower North or Watchgate North or Tower Gate.
I think it's called.
Maybe.
I think it's called Watchtower, isn't it? I don't know.
It depends. You can. I mean, as you're coming across from the western side of the map, you're crossing over the border into the eastern. There's Daytower Gate.
Daytower Gate, yes, because that's where you face the corruptor.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways to get across the border depending on where you come from. But yeah, if you're sort of being funneled by the quests, you're going to come over, I think, by Daytower Gate. Yeah.
Yeah, I came across a corruptor. I dealt with it, and I did not die.
I did.
Yeah.
But
I was quite surprised. It wasn't the only beastie there either. Or machine.
No, there were some watchers, I think, as there usually are.
Were those corrupted watchers, or were they? Well, why don't we rewind here a little bit since we?
Okay, sorry.
No, since we kept it real spoiler free last time. I don't even think we really talked about machines, did we, Victor?
I don't remember because neither of us had really played a whole lot, and so we didn't have really a whole lot of intelligent stuff to say about the game, except really first impressions and stuff, right?
Right. And I think and I actually think we knew that for whatever. I think were you sick when that released, Sherry? Had you gotten sick?
Was I sick?
When
Yes,
Horizon?
I think so. Yes.
So
I came down with the flu. Oh, it's pretty miserable.
That's awful.
So I think that actually kept us. We purposely kept it very spoiler free, so we wouldn't give anything away to Sherry as we were talking, knowing that she hadn't played yet, if she even would listen at that point. So
yeah, indeed. You guys are so lovely. Thank you.
So did we? I missed the pre-show discussion. Did you? Does everybody now know where this is set? I mean, it seems to be somewhat common knowledge.
No, we didn't.
I don't.
No,
I don't know myself. So
okay.
Right. I don't mind. I don't mind knowing.
Okay.
If you want to play PlayStation, you fucking play PlayStation.
Hey nerds! Can't get enough of Fallout at home? Check out the Fallout feed. Let's Play series for something exciting. Extra Fallout action only at asapodcasting.com.
What's going on, gamers? Welcome to episode 46 of ASA Game Talk. We are asapodcasting.com's general gaming podcast, where we talk about games besides Skyrim and Fallout. Usually. What's going on? This is Jeremy, and I am joined today by Zach from Plug and Play Podcast.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on, Jeremy. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for making time.
Oh yeah, of course.
Start off with the most important question. How's that new baby?
The baby is doing awesome. He's actually kicking around out in the living room. I actually just went out there to grab some coffee before we start recording. And he's keeping my wife awake, so he's doing his job. So, I mean...
Nice.
Yeah, he's doing awesome. He's growing, man. He's freaking huge. He's like a giant.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations again on the little guy.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that.
Absolutely. Now on to the second most important topic.
I'd say this is the most important topic,
well,
but that's okay.
Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Oh my god. That game, dude, this game. I mean, you might as well just like close up the rest of the podcast on this podcasting network and just call them all like Zelda Breath of the Wild cast.
Zelda Addict.
Zelda Addict. There we go. Oh yeah, that's not a bad name for a podcast. We should trademark that really quick. Dude, so you just got it.
I did. Since our last recording, which would have been a couple weeks ago, the Horizon podcast. Yep. I came into a Switch in Zelda, so I have been playing it nonstop since last Saturday.
Oh my gosh!
And
so what do you think?
Sorry, here. Let me just clear my throat here for a second.
Oh, no worries.
Probably could have muted that so you didn't have to hear it, but
it's I like to call that as like intense pause. So people are like, "What is he gonna say?" Yes. Hold on, we gotta wait for him to stop coughing. He has something to say about this. I know he does.
It is absolutely amazing. There's so many things to do that you can get lost just doing, I'm going to just do this today. And you could just do that and it has nothing to do with the story. There is just...
Dude, I got lost like collecting the map. Like,
yes.
I got outside of like the starting area and was just like, you know what? I don't like not seeing the world. I want to see the world.
Yep.
So I spent the first week and a half getting the stupid map.
It's so easy to get sidetracked between doing that and then, oh, look, there's a shrine. I might as well hit that shrine so I have a fast travel point.
Exactly.
And then
you have to.
I don't even. It's so hard to wrap your head around everything there is to do in this game. It's between the shrines, between the seeds. Let's not even talk about those fucking seeds yet.
Dude, those fucking seeds. Screw those seeds. I have like 28, and like I spent like an hour like one day like picking up rocks. And it was like, oh, there's a random rock up there. I'm gonna go pick it up for a seed. Nothing. So finally, I was like, you know what? Fuck you, little green guys. I'm not gonna get the seeds anymore. It's like I'm not gonna go out of my way to find a rock that you're not underneath.
I think right now I have 17 in my inventory.
Yeah.
And that's because old broccoli fucker Hestu has retreated to the forest.
Oh, see, and I've only done one upgrade, so he hasn't retreated yet for me.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I know where he goes, and trust me, there's like 7 other like movement places, and I've heard them all because people like bitch every time he moves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the stupidest thing.
I know he goes one other place for sure, and then the rumor is he's gone to where he's supposed to go.
Okay, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's 3 moves and then he sticks. I don't know, but I do know that he moves like a couple times, enough to piss people off.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because you're like, oh yes, because as soon as you find him, and I don't think it's a spoiler to say, once you find Hestu, he lets you increase your weapon slots in armor or weapons, bows, and shields.
Yep.
Which is awesome because you start out with, 6 or 7 weapon slots?
I think it's like 6, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a lot, especially...
Not when they break every 2 seconds.
Especially when 3 of them are tree branches because you're low level.
Yeah, tree branches. I did figure out tree branches are good for using as like torches, just so you know.
I did not know they would work as a torch also.
They do, and they work very well. They don't last as long as, obviously, as a torch, but I don't know how to make a torch, so I use tree branches because I never come across torches.
Right. I've seen a few torches, and I usually keep one in my inventory, but today I started just wandering around, and I started to find higher level weapons, and I'm like, well, sorry, torch, you're gone. I need to carry this level 36, or the great boomerang or giant boomerang?
Oh, yeah, the great one?
Yeah.
Do you actually throw it?
No,
nobody throws it.
I threw a boomerang once accidentally, and it never came back, so I'm not going to try that again.
I went to open field once I got a boomerang, and I was like, you know what? I have to throw it once and I have to catch it once. It took me about 5 minutes to get the right timing because I'm stupid. And I caught it, and I was like, you know what? I'm never doing that again. That's the most useless thing in the world.
Right.
So there is without spoiling a whole lot, there is one instance, like inside shrines, where you need to hit something far away.
Yep.
That would be cool to have a boomerang for, but I've never had one in that instant, so...
It's, man, I almost feel like, whoops, sorry, we're getting, like, we're going all over the place here. I don't know if
all right, let's wrap it back in.
I don't know if we should try and go kind of in order here.
Yeah, why don't we start from the beginning?
Yeah, you.
I mean, we can kind of talk about, like, I'd say, like, we can safely talk about the Great Plateau, because that's really, like, if you're not there, you're not really spoiling a lot.
Right. And I forgot to mention this before. Whenever, whatever you get, when you need to get off, just feel free. Don't.
Okay.
No
worries.
Don't feel like you have to keep talking as long as I do. So if you got to go, we'll just wrap it, and we can always do another show in a couple months or something. But
yeah,
I know
there'll be a lot more to cover in a couple months. I guarantee you that.
With the baby and stuff, I don't want you to.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Feel like you have to sit here and talk to me. So yeah, you start off in the Great Plateau, and you come across the old man pretty quick. I assume, unless, well, you can't really go many other directions. You can you climb up the rocks?
You can, but the camera, like when you walk out of it, like pans to him. So it's kind of like you see him no matter what.
Right.
Now, whether or not you go to him is a different story.
Right.
But you can't get off the Great Plateau unless you talk to the old man.
Right. And you start with a full stamina wheel.
Yep.
And 3 hearts?
Yep.
Yes.
Just like the standard 3 hearts.
Okay. I've never played this much of a Zelda game, so this is all... A lot of this is new to me.
So, normally in every Zelda game, you start with 3 hearts. The stamina wheel is new. So.
Okay. And, well, right now, what are you at for... First, have you beat the game?
I haven't, no,
Okay.
and I don't plan on beating it anytime soon.
Okay, good.
So I have 4 hearts or 5 hearts. I also have a lot of shrine build up still. I just haven't cashed them in. And I have 2 complete stamina rings.
Oh, wow.
So
I'm
that's
at
what I got.
7 hearts. And,
oh, wow.
3 additional stamina pieces. So not.
Okay.
I haven't completed a second stamina ring yet.
Okay, cool.
So,
I think I probably have enough shrines to get up to about your heart level.
Okay.
But I just haven't cashed them in yet. I don't know why. I for the longest time just didn't do anything with them. I had 40 shrines underneath my belt just sitting there not doing anything. I hadn't upgraded a single thing yet. And finally, Tim was like, dude, you got to do something with them. It's pointless to be doing this with no cashing them in.
Right.
So I went and cashed them all in, basically for the stamina and then the 2 hearts.
So what do you think is more important, stamina or the hearts? What is your roadmap? What are you thinking you're going to...
I think I'm going to keep doing about maybe 5 stamina to 1 heart. Maybe 6 stamina to 1 heart. Stamina seems way more important to me. Honestly, I don't think it really matters all that much as long as you can do good recipes.
Right.
So I find that heart recipes are way easier for me. So I've just been less worried about my hearts and more worried about my stamina. Plus, there were some cool things that I wanted to do that required high stamina. So we can talk about those once we get off the Great Plateau because they're not really a spoiler.
Right.
But they are kind of they're cool, neat little things that you would expect inside of a game like Skyrim, let's say.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was trying to figure out how I was going to work this question in. So how do you feel this not compares, but would you say this is similar to Skyrim?
I would say it's very similar. So I'm torn on that question. In one way, I feel like Skyrim is way more adult oriented, way more graphic and intense, which makes it an amazing game. There's blood, there's actual legitimate, you're killing other people.
Right.
Zelda is more nostalgia and child violence, I would call it, because you're not really killing humans. You're killing evil creatures that are obviously evil, kind of like the Dwemer. But, yeah, I don't know. That's a tough question. I'd say they're highly likely the same.
Right.
With different twists.
I was just saying, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other would be...
Yeah. I mean, they're as similar as you want to make comparisons, but they're also as vastly different, too.
That was an awesome way to say it, yes.
So...
Yes. I never even thought to compare and contrast what you're killing.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, it's you've got to get through enemies, whether they're human or non-human. And
there's just something that seems a little bit more violent about Skyrim.
Oh, absolutely.
Killing, and I guess if you put Zelda creatures in the Skyrim, probably wouldn't be as violent because you're not killing like human, I guess, in my mind anyways.
Right.
So it just seems more, it's more like a R-rated versus PG-rated, so.
And I would say one of the big things that's different between Zelda and Skyrim, or Zelda in any RPG, is there's no, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no real leveling system.
No, I mean, I guess you could consider your hearts and your stamina levels, but there's not like you're level 28 or something like that. No.
Right. It's essentially just where you go gets you better equipment
and every single thing of equipment kind of works, because coming back from trying to wrap World of Warcraft into this, like if you're not a high enough level, sometimes you can't wear the armor. Well, in Zelda and stuff, you can wear the armor no matter what. So, I mean, you can literally run straight to the castle and beat this game in, I think the world record right now is like 53 minutes.
Wow.
And basically you get all of that high-end equipment and you're able to wear it right out of the gate. So that's pretty cool.
Would you ever think of playing it that way?
No.
Would you
ever
want
ruin the game
to?
for me.
Right, exactly. That's you want the story to be told and everything to wrap into one, instead of why spend all the money on a Switch in the game to beat it in under an hour?
I guess, somebody wants to be the number one in the world, and that's fine. It'd be exciting for me to be number one Zelda speedrunner in the world, but that would ruin the game for me. I'm not willing to do it to this series. I mean, maybe another series, I could do it and ruin that experience for the rest of my life, but not Zelda. There's so many different ways to make your story in this game that it's just, it would be really counterintuitive for me to go out and destroy this game for me by trying to speedrun it.
Right.
So,
well, before we get back into the game, I just thought about this. Have you added anything to the Zelda collection lately?
Oh, dude. So I ended up buying the Master Edition of Breath of the Wild. So
yeah, I watched Tim's unboxing when he
did you?
He unboxed the collector's edition?
Yeah, he unboxed the collector's, and I unboxed the Master's Edition. I was just going to say, over on our YouTube channel, there is an unboxing for both of them.
Oh.
And I got this, badass, cement sword thing that's like a statue. It's probably about, 10 inches tall. It's really cool.
Have you propped the baby up with it?
No, because the sword on it's really flimsy. The base is made out of cement.
Okay.
The sword on it's really flimsy, so it's up pretty high, so we can't get to it. And then I did go out and buy. I basically have all the new Breath of the Wild amiibos besides the Bobakin, that little creature. So I got that super rare Guardian amiibo. The legs on it move and everything. It's really cool.
Oh wow.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Skyrim Addict. You can find all of our contact information, YouTube channel information, as well as other shows over at asapodcasting.com, including our newest show, The Fallout Feed. Special thanks to Claire Lafar for the show's artwork. You can find her stuff at etsy.com/MayaFirePrints, MayaFirePrints. And a thank you to Dan Bull for the use of his music in the Roundtable Open and Close. You can find him on YouTube or iTunes. Just search Dan Bull. Once again, thanks for listening, and later, everyone.